clear my throat. Hey, everybody. Yes. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris Schaefer, how's it going today? Episode 153.
153. Yeah, I'm good, Jason. I feel laser focused and a mile deep.
I could go a lot of ways with that, but Chris, can you tell I'm focused today? Can you tell I'm firing on all cylinders?
Oh, man.
Tell I'm fired up.
Fire. Like you went to the store. You took your car, you went to the store, and you went all the way back over to the automotive section, and you took what you thought you were going to get was regular gasoline. You actually ended up buying turbo gas, and then you poured that in and lit the fire, and just explosion, just beyond what expectations. Turbo gas, nitro. I can feel it looking in your eyes. Been looking in your eyes many hours of my life, more than any male I've probably looked into the eyes of.
I think the way I greeted you today on the podcast, like when we got on the video feed together, the first thing I greeted you before my video feed even opened up, it was just audio. What you heard in your ears, shut the F up. That's how I greeted you today, Chris.
Yeah, it was. It was. I didn't know if you were going to say what you said, but yes, absolutely. No. That's 100% true. I'm sitting looking at my phone, like waiting for him to join, and then I hear.
One of those weeks. All right, Chris. Well, tell me about Optio, and then we've got a lot to get into today.
Yes, Optio.com/PSP. This is a wonderful tool that Jason and I both use. We recommend for AdWords managers out there, whether you're running one Google Ads campaign, you're running a whole bunch of clients. This is an additional tool beyond the scope of the usual Google Ads interface to give you additional information on how to improve your Google Ads campaigns. So we're talking about ways to improve your CPA, ways to change your bidding, additional keywords to add, additional negative keywords to add, additional ad copy winners that might be especially valuable that you didn't notice. You've got your checklist, you've got your normal rundown on things that you check, but sometimes you run dry. This is the oil that keeps your Google Ads campaign running. Optio.com/PSP. That's OPTEO.com/PSP. Check it out for a 6-week extended trial, and it's completely free. When I say trial, that means you don't pay anything, right? Just to be plain here, you don't pay anything for 6 weeks to try it out. Try it out. See what you think. Optio.com/PSP.
Chris, I think I don't think my recording's going. Just kidding.
Oh, gosh,
I think I would mess up like that on a day like this, Chris. I told you I'm firing on all cylinders. Okay,
wow.
Don't even think that I would make that kind of mistake for a second. I just like to play with you. I like to play with you all night. So, Chris,
that's not funny because there was one time we've re-recorded entire episodes because of that. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, one time on each side though. Tell the people the truth. Yeah, one time on each side.
That's true. 50-50. So I screwed it up one time. You screwed it up. That's true.
That's right. The next person who messes up is off the show. Let's put it that way.
There we go. That's a wow.
Winner take all.
That's a big.
No mistakes. No mistakes allowed. All right. So Chris, got a lot of great reviews on iTunes. They are flowing in, Chris. Some really great reviews have been coming in, and instead of reading the one that specifically was very favorable to me for 4 weeks in a row, we're going to branch out this week and start reading more reviews. But we appreciate these reviews, guys. Ratings and reviews on iTunes. When you do that, they bump us up in the rankings. More people get to learn about the show. So, title of the review, iTunes, Eric, United States of America. Making my drive to work livable, 5 stars. I drive an hour to work daily to manage a big old PPC campaign. I listen to you guys on the way, and you start my mornings right. New episodes, old episodes. I can always find an episode where you talk about something I'm working on or struggling with. I love hearing you peel back the why you feel a certain way. Thanks, Eric.
Oh man,
Eric, thank you for that review. And
that's so vivid. That's so
yeah, I
vivid.
like the
Peel
description.
back the why. I feel like I want to put that on a t-shirt, like paid search podcast. Peel back the why. It's like a Y with like a skin around it, and you're like peeling it. Oh, man, he's a writer. You can tell. He writes good ads. He writes good ad
Chris,
copy.
we got some news. Can you please make the news sound?
Beep, 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 beep. There
Can
we
you
go.
please put on some makeup and look hot like a newscaster?
No, no, I make sounds. No, draw
All
the
right,
line.
just audio.
Not
Okay.
your puppet. I'm not. Wait, what was it? Show pony?
I
Pony
think my
puppet.
show pony was my
That was
epic
good,
one.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
That was a good.
Chris, we have big news. A lot of people who listen to our show think about one thing all day, and that's losing their job to automation. That's all they think about. They don't think about doing a good job on their client accounts and keeping their job. They just think about losing their job to AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, the robots. But I've got good news for you, everyone. Our friend of the show, my friend, Fred Valais, who runs Optimizer, we've had him as a guest on the show. He's coming back in a few weeks to tell us about this. And what this is his new book, Digital Marketing, Digital Marketing in an AI World, Future Proofing Your PPC Agency. So, what the book is about, it's about AI. It's about how AI is coming to digital marketing, but it's about how you can work with AI and not only survive, but thrive in tomorrow's AI world. I've ordered the book. It's on pre order. It comes out May 28th on Amazon. We're going to link to it in the show notes. It's called Digital Marketing in an AI World, Future Proofing Your PPC Agency, Fred Valais. And we recommend you guys check that out. And we will be interviewing Fred in a few weeks here on the Paid Search Podcast to talk about this new book. Chris, you wrote down, it was your week to be a little producer. You wrote down on the show notes, no question.
No
And
question.
my behind the scenes question to you is, why is there no question? Is it because you
Mm-hmm.
did not want to do a question this week? Or
Mm-hmm.
is it because we don't have any questions banked?
We have plenty of questions,
Okay, just making
but
sure.
yeah, we do have questions. People still care about you, Jason. You're still validated and you're important. So don't worry about that.
Oh, I know
We
that.
do have questions. Guys, when you send those in, I do see them. I bank them into a document, which keeps them in place and prepares them. But the main reason is since we have the Q&A session that we do every few weeks or every month or 2 months or so, those fit very nicely in there. And
Okay.
the main reason I skipped the question is because today, like I said at the beginning, laser focus and a mile deep. That's what we're going with here. A lot of times we talk about 16 different things in Google Ads. We talk about, let's talk about keywords, and we talk about match types. We talk about bidding. We talk about broad match and search terms. We talk about, a lot of things. Today, we're going to talk about one thing, laser focus. And this is the kind of thing that even if you don't think you can use this, stick around. And I think you'll learn something that could be useful. You might be surprised about how you could possibly use this,
What
whether
are you
you're
talking
going
about, Chris?
for
You
lead
are
gen.
the most
I
undersaled
know.
sales guy. Who could not use this? Not only could they
Mm-hmm.
not, like, no one's going to say, "Oh, I can't use that." These people don't even know what this is,
I know. Well, they saw the title, Jason. I know. Like
right?
we're
And
talking in the
they don't know what it is, and so
they,
I guarantee you,
they
a
saw
huge
the.
99% of our audience has no idea what this is, and this is going to
Oh,
be
that's true.
incredibly useful for them. So
That's true.
everybody can use it.
I'm speaking to the people that the elite of the elite. When I say custom audiences, they know what I'm talking
No, they
about. For
don't.
those
No,
that
they don't. No, they
don't,
don't. And I'll tell you why. I
okay.
had no clue what this stuff is before you put these
Are
notes on there.
you kidding me?
As we all know, I have made the most money from Google Ads management on the planet Earth. And as we talked about on
Uh
Patreon, if I had video editing skills, there would be no more money for anybody else because I'd be able to market myself as the shirtless AdWords guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
Chris,
Yeah.
like, okay, the reason why, let's just be real, because that's what we do on the show, is because and don't you ever disrespect me and lie right now, Chris. You
Okay.
do not run pure display, non-remarketing display campaigns for your clients at all, barely any. Maybe one for every 50 accounts or something like that.
Okay. You're absolutely right. You're
Okay.
absolutely
So
right.
because I'm the same way, because we're focused on remarketing, we're focused on search and some nice YouTube. But search remarketing YouTube, running classic display ads all over the internet with very little targeting. That's just not something you and I have done that much. So because we don't do it that much, Chris, I didn't know what this was. I had no idea what this was. And when I got on there today and looked at this production sheet, these show notes, and I saw these color coded, simple but deep notes, I said,
Mm-hmm.
that's why that guy's my podcast partner and
Boom.
owns 30% of the Paid Search podcast. That's why.
30%. Yes. 30%. Yes. I knew that we made more money
You're
than
up
what
from
you said.
20.
Dang it. My
No, I'm
kids are
just kidding.
hungry,
I'm just kidding. I'm
starving to
just
death.
kidding. 50-50, 50-50. But Chris, I was like, man, he just reminded everybody why he's the man. Like, dude, this is some deep, nice, interesting content. And it's stuff that, yeah, I had seen the word custom. I had seen Google come up with custom audiences that they recommended, but they didn't perform well. But I didn't know all the stuff we're going to get into. And
Yeah.
this opens a whole new world.
Oh, wow. Going back to Aladdin.
Aladdin live action with Will Smith.
Oh,
It is
gosh. No.
coming soon because Disney knows everything they need to do to keep me and my kids for generations. Chris, Disney Plus, we'll probably both be subscribing. Going to take
Mhm.
down Netflix.
I am not.
Competition in
No,
the streaming wars. Chris,
I'm not going to
you
watch
opened a
that.
whole new world to me, dude. Like, I'm going to definitely try this out for my own another podcast I do. I'm going to try it out for my own business. I'm going to try it out
Hmm.
for the Paid Search podcast, especially the search term thing. So don't tell me people know about this. I'm going to admit to
Okay.
everyone I had no clue about this, and this opens up a whole new world. So
A whole new world.
kick it off, Chris. You
So,
should pat yourself on the back. This is this is deep stuff. Why don't you
it
do it
is.
more often?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess
Well,
we can talk about.
when I'm inspired, when I'm inspired to do something. Yeah. So, okay. So anyway, we've spent like 7 minutes
I don't
talking
care. I don't
about
care.
something.
We're
Trimming
going
that.
a mile deep. We're going a mile deep today, guys. Mile deep. Is that a CrossFit term, Chris, or a mile
Yeah.
deep?
Oh yeah.
A mile deep. We're
Definitely. We
just
say
gonna
that
do
all the
burpees,
time.
just sets of 50 burpees for 3 hours in a row. Go ahead.
We can talk about what I did at CrossFit today at on the Patreon show afterwards.
No,
So
that's gonna get
yeah,
subscribers. Please,
that's what
everyone,
everybody
just
wants to hear about.
scrub that from your eardrums right now.
Okay, so custom audiences, advanced Google Ads display tips. Okay, this is the kind of thing that
Man, this is good
is
stuff,
going to
dude.
be hopefully should be revolutionary because what I think I need to start with to even begin the discussion is to define the terminology here because there is some very minute details between the word affinity and the word in market. And then when you add the word custom affinity and
Yeah.
custom in, I mean, there's a very different spin on each one of these. So let's talk about it. Number one, this is display. Okay, we're not talking. We talk about search 90% of the time. Today, we're talking about display. Okay, so throw out any ideas about whether we use the word search terms or keywords. We're not talking about search. So let's get that straight. So these are for display. And if you're not familiar, display means that you're going to show on websites. You're going to show on other sites outside of google.com. You're going to show on blogs and forums and news sites and
Apps.
and YouTube. It's going to show anywhere that the Google display ads are allowed to show, which is, I think, what, 97% of the internet. I mean, it's everywhere. So
2
it would
million
show,
properties.
right. I mean, everywhere. So
Not
lots of
everywhere.
it, not everywhere, everywhere that you would want to. It's not going to show on showponymen.com, or what, like something only Jason goes to. I hope that's not a site. I do not go there. If that's a real site, I do
If
not
that's
go
a
there.
real site, you just got straight up outed, dude. If that's on your mind.
Oh gosh. Okay. I thought I'd say something random enough that okay. I'm not even going to try. Okay. So affinity is a person that has specific interests or habits, and that's what the word affinity means. So a person that has interests or habits. This is a historical process that takes time for a person to be assigned to a certain affinity. So Jason, Google might know that I have an affinity for
Show
a certain
pony,
group
man.
of bookworms, avid reader type of thing. I might be in that kind of group because my searches often include, author names or book names or, characters and stuff like that. I'm watching YouTube videos about that stuff or looking at, eBay things for old hardbacks and stuff like that. So I might be in that affinity. I have an interest or a habit in a certain area. Okay. Then let's talk about in market. In market is completely different. I have a hobby, an interest in old books or, books, just reading in general. But in market might mean that I have a certain interest in new running shoes, new workout clothes or something like that. This is something that is not necessarily historical over time. This is more of a short snippet of time, more recent, and I have a tendency, or I, based on my searches and my viewing history, it's likely that I'm ready to make a purchase for travel, for certain type of clothes, maybe someone who's about to get married, has been doing certain type of searches, and they're
Yeah.
in market to make a purchase like that. Okay, this information sounds a little scary if you're not an AdWords person, and this sounds scary because Google can get this information about you. It's good to know that this is private information. For advertisers out there, you cannot see who that person is. You have no idea where they are, what their name is. You don't have any more information. You don't even know their age, gender. You know nothing about them other than this particular click was registered in the affinity for this or in market for this. So that's where the line is drawn. So I don't want anybody to get too excited because there's a lot of
But
false
Chris,
information out
all this sounds like display options we've talked about in the past.
there.
Affinity
Yes.
versus market. There's something different going on now with this custom thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. When we add the word custom, we can now build these for our own purposes. So let's say you are you own a paintball facility, or you own some type of children's playground or something that bounce house or a jump house or something like that. There's probably not an affinity or interest that you could look at that's pre-built in Google's list that you could choose that would work for you. That is what we're talking about today. Custom affinity and custom in-market audiences that you can build, and all the options that are available to you on how to do that. You can come up with your own idea of, let's say you have a bounce house or something like that, and it's summertime and you want to build a custom affinity group for moms that often look up things about children's birthdays, often look up things about children's clothing, toddler stuff, or pre-K or teenager or things like that. You can build these custom affinity groups, and that's what we're talking about today. Is how what are the options? What's available to you? So, Jason, tell them where they can find this mysterious tool and how to go about
Yeah.
diving
And
in.
Chris, you mentioned a paintball owner. There may not be a specific paintball affinity audience, but the way I think about it is every single business can use a custom audience, even if you do car insurance and there's an in-market audience for car insurance. everyone has a niche, like with their businesses. So everything can be niched down better. You know your customers better than anybody. So I think everybody can use a custom, even if they have an affinity that kind of fits them already. But the place to find this is you go to tools and then shared library. Tools at the top. That's where I go. That's where I go. Okay. Where do you go?
That's extra step. One extra, you can go to tools and then audience manager.
Right. Unless your browser is tucked into more of a tablet mobile thing, and then it groups them into the top menu items, Chris, shared library, bulk action setup. Or if you're looking at, you click on tools and you're like, Chris Shaver said audience manager, but I see 5 columns. It'd be so much easier if he showed me which column to look at first. Yeah. I make training videos on YouTube. I have a
videos. massive, huge monitor. So, so that's why I
know where you were going there. Okay. All right, Chris. Well, you go to tools at the top, and then you're looking at the shared library column, and then you click on audience manager. But you have to go deeper. That will leave you, at least for me, it leaves me on an audience list area, and it says remarketing, and it has all my many remarketing lists. And then to the right of that, it says custom audiences. And here is where you can create your custom audiences, and then you need to apply them to your display campaigns. But Chris, when you're creating custom audiences, you're going to be presented with 2 options. Custom affinity, which is it says people with interest aligned with your brand, people with interest, and then custom intent, people actively researching products and services. So let's break down custom infinity first. Or no, let's break down custom intent. Oh no, Rachel, please edit this out, and people on YouTube can see how we edit it, but people on audio can't. Chris, let's Rachel, you're going to have to edit that too. Chris, Rachel, you're going to have to edit this one, 3. Chris, let's first break down custom intent. So what are people's options with custom intent?
Okay. So as I said, go back to the original. What's the definition? Custom intent is the custom version of in market. Okay, so that means when they're actively researching, actively planning. Someone having a wedding, somebody having a birthday party, something like that.
Someone's house flooding on their side yard every time it rains. And it's getting into the foundation, and then they have to find a company to put in a French drain and an irrigation system, and then pay that company $4,611.13, and have 2 days of their lives disrupted, and then have people that call in and want to take their time because they think they're important. But no, are you paying my bills? No. I'm paying $4,611.13 because it rains outside. Because it rains outside. Maybe that's what I'm in the market for, Chris. Now I'm in the market for anger management and therapy.
Jason, all I got to say, you're welcome to come over and enjoy what it's like not to have anyone nearby draining their crap into your yard and causing you to pay for it.
We're the low man on the totem pole, Chris. The whole block of our neighborhood just slopes down, and then right next to us it starts sloping up, and then the water just sits there, dude. It just sits there, bro. And then I pay $4,611.13.
Yep.
Just because it rains outside.
Come on down. I'll show you what it's like
when Texas. Come on down.
Flows naturally into the creek down on the north side of the property and the creek down on the south side. It's just natural.
That's what I'm in the market for. That's what I'm in the market for. Based on, I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Chris. So dude, the options.
2 options.
There's 2 options, but let's be real. One of them stands out to people like you and me.
Yeah.
So get through the in-market one, and then I want to go deep on the search terms.
Okay. So, let's start with, let's go with the in-market keywords. So in-market keywords, and let me explain how to do this. So once you hit the blue plus button and you click in custom intent, you write an audience name. Okay. So there you go. Write an audience
drain.
French drain anger issues. There we
French
go.
drain first.
And so we want to go with in-market keywords. So what you can do is you type just in the same way that you do for a search campaign. Start typing some
Chris, I'll do it like you're training me. I just typed in French drain, and then On the right side, it gives me other in-market keyword ideas that pop up. Drainage, French drain pipe, yard drainage, French drains, drainage, French
Yep.
drain system. And you would
Tons of
advise me
ideas.
to add more that makes sense?
Yeah, yeah. It's here's the idea. You cannot treat this in the way that you do a search campaign. We're adding keywords, but keywords are treated completely different. This is what's so different about this is we're not targeting content. We're not targeting searches. Even though we're putting keywords in, we're targeting the person
Right.
who matches this custom group. This custom group that is designed specifically for you, this custom intent based on in-market keywords, we're targeting the person. So the idea is add a bunch. Go with as specific as you can be, but not so specific that you only have 5. Give Google something really to work with. 30 would be great. 40 would be great. If you can have,
Okay.
some volume in there and dump them in there.
But Chris,
You would never do this on Google search campaigns,
right.
but you can feel free to do it here.
So I'm going to ask you something a business owner would ask right now, or an employee working in an agency, and either would be great candidates for our archive. Sorry. Chris, French. So I typed in French drain. I'm a French drain business owner. I'm the person that charges people $4,611.13 for a French drain. And
Yep.
I typed in French drain because that's what I want people in the market for that. But then I see other ideas here: drainage, French drain pipe, yard drainage, French drains. Those look good to me to add in. But then I see installing French drain yard, how to install a French drain system. And because I listen to paid search podcasts, I'm going to think, oh, is that a little bit too much of a DIY? So do you have to be careful with that? Because as a business owner, I probably wouldn't want, or I'd be hesitant to add how to install a French drain system as my in-market keyword, because I'd be thinking maybe that person's too DIY.
Yeah.
Is that valid?
You obviously speak to a lot of clients, Jason. That is absolutely something somebody would be concerned about. And my thought is, and I think Google would agree, because the idea here is to go after the person. You're not going to mimic the search. Yes, this is a DIY type of thing, but you're going after people who would be looking and actively researching solutions for something.
Right.
And that is exactly how they would be doing it. I wouldn't recommend a DIY keyword for a search campaign, but for something like this, yeah, that's the kind of audience you're going for. People that have a
Really?
problem. Yeah, that's what I
Even
would
though
suggest.
it's how to install, because you're going to say, are you basically saying that even though it says how to install French drain, it's not as specific as a keyword, like a search keyword, and we know this person has a French drain problem, so let's at least get in front of them with display
Right.
where it's cheap? Okay.
Right. Exactly. The same reason why if you have a bounce house or something like that, you're going to go after people that are searching about toddlers and kids activities, summer camps, things like
Higher
that.
in the funnel, higher in the funnel.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to think outside of what you would usually do. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's
So Chris,
so dump a bunch of keywords in there
and
and
URLs.
thank you. Yes. And URLs. Okay. So let's quickly talk about what you can do with URLs. You can take a URL from your website. You can take a URL from a competitor's website. You can take a URL from a wiki page or a blog article. And here's what happens. I'm going to be very clear about this because I've seen YouTube videos and I have people emailing me stuff that say, "Hey, this is an amazing hack. Have you heard about this?" What people have been wrongly telling people, and either they're ignorant or they're liars, is that if you put a URL in here, it will show to people who have been to that URL.
That's not correct.
That's absolutely wrong. That is not true. So either they're not smart and you should fire them, or they're lying to you and you should fire them. What's happening is Google takes the content on the page and creates a custom intent audience based on those URLs, based on the content of that page. So it's effectively doing the same thing. It's just a little bit faster way of doing it. It just automatically grabs the content on that page and mixes and matches and makes something. So grab 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 URLs. I don't know what the max is actually for URLs, but dump those in there. And
With
it
the
kind
keywords.
of, Yeah, you can do
Okay.
keywords and URLs.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool.
So dump those in there, and now you've got. I mean, you've given Google a lot to work with, and that's kind of the idea here. It's going to give Google more to create that custom intent audience with.
Now, Chris, let's just quickly jump ahead just to get it out of the way. After you hit save and create your audience, then it'll list it there and it'll say not in use. And then what you can do is you can highlight it, you can say add to ad groups, and then it's going to show you your display active and enabled ad groups. They have to be turned on for you to see them there. And you can click which one you want, and then you check that you want it in that ad group. But then, Chris, you hit next, and you're going to be hit with some options. And I put a screenshot there in our show notes, Chris. You can look at it.
Thank you.
Even though you're trying to create custom, they're still trying to get in there with the smart option and grow that audience size. So it gives you three options when you add this custom audience to an ad group. Do you want smart default recommended? That's what it's called. Smart default recommended, or targeting, or observation. Chris, because I'm hanging out with you, I'm going to do targeting because I want to target people who are actually in this audience. And I don't want to do the smart thing because I don't want to open up my audience to even more people who Google thinks should be in that audience. I want it to be custom. That's why I made custom. So why don't you break down those three options real quick and let me know what you recommend.
Yeah. So targeting is exactly what we talked about. It's people that match the criteria that you've been given. Okay. That is, if you want to target the people that you've now built the custom intent audience for, it's targeting. If you want to allow Google to have a little play with some of that and kind of go outside the bounds, some of them are inside, some are, way outside. That's the thing, is I don't really understand how much of it, what is it, a bell curve, or is it even on, on all ends of extreme versus moderate? I'm not sure, but smart is going to allow for that leniency between what you've targeted and what they think you might possibly want. And then observation is honestly, that's not what you want at all, because observation does not target, and it would allow for anybody to see that, see the information, but only give you the data about what they've seen. So in the end, targeting is going to be my suggested route if you're looking for a true
To
only
actually
spend
try it
money
out.
on that.
And Chris, we said you can add it that way when you're on the custom audiences page, or you can just save the audience there. You can go to your campaign, you can go to your ad group, you can go to audiences, you can click the ad, edit audiences, and then go to browse. And if you did an in-market one, custom intent, you can go to custom intent audiences, and you'll see it there, whatever you named it. So you can add it that way too. So Chris, let's talk about the other kind of custom intent. And this one really turned me on. This one really got me going. This one really really caught my eye there because of control, because I like to control things. Google search terms. Include people based on their Google search terms. Enter search terms this audience is using on Google. So are you telling me I can create a custom display audience and have all the huge market, cheap clicks, tons of impression opportunities, branding, all that, awareness and all that of the display network, combined with an audience that is so particular to my needs that I can create that audience based on what they are searching in Google?
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
out of town and stop podcasting with me. Okay? Quit this podcast. Are you serious? And you
Is
waited
it? I mean,
153 episodes to tell your podcast partner that, Chris?
well, it's the kind of thing that I'm not sure when this exact
I'll tell you when.
thing
I'll tell you when.
came around.
I have another podcast that one day maybe will make me a lot more money, and I won't have to share it, half of it, or 30% of it, whatever you want to believe, with this guy that just laughs in my face in my computer screen. After dinner investing, Chris, the
Mm-hmm.
people who are perfect for that audience that I do on that show,
Mm-hmm.
I know what they're searching in Google. They're not, okay, here's the thing, Chris. I've tried display where I run display ads and I say, oh, show me people who have an affinity for stocks, or people who have an affinity for investing. Or Google came up with their own custom audiences, and it said people who want to know what stocks to buy. I've tried all that targeting, Chris, and you know what I see on my analytics? Bounce rates that are so close, or at 100%, they'll make you cry
Yeah.
if it's your money
Yeah.
being spent. Okay, so it's just
Exactly.
nothing doing. It's just not working. Because for
Yeah.
people in that audience for after dinner investor show, it's such a particular kind of investing. It doesn't apply to the overall investing audiences that Google creates on its own. So I
Right.
know the search terms that I want people who do search terms in Google. I know what search terms I want my people to be searching when they see my display ads. Or let me put that a different way. I know who I want my display ads to show to based on the very particular niche investing things they're searching in Google. So for me, that's where it would be awesome, Chris. And I know there's a ton of
Yeah.
different business owners out there who could benefit from this. Now, it is just like it sounds. It is like we explained, but tell people the mistake I made just today. I put in a handful of
Mm.
search terms and it wasn't
And
saving. It wasn't showing up when I wanted
yeah.
to add it. Tell people where I went wrong.
Yeah, so it's I don't understand why they're so strict. There must be some kind the way the formula works. But when you do this and rewind the tape, go back, blue plus button, everything we were before, custom intent, and now change the drop down to Google search terms.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you need at least 50 keywords.
And it says it there
So
in light gray on the right. I just didn't read it.
you have to have 50 keywords. So I don't know if it's the way the system works or whatever, but they're very serious about that. You will not be able to add less than 50. You have to have it in there. And so you may wonder, well, my goodness, how do I come up with 50? I mean, use your
Use your
search
brain,
campaign.
dude. Come on.
Like
You can
use
come up with
the
50
keyword
search terms.
planner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, keyword planner. I mean, we've done plenty of episodes how to come up with keywords, and this is the kind of thing. They could be longer tail, they could be short. You don't have to use match types. Just be creative. So this is the
And we
place that
keep
you
saying
would put.
keywords, but these are search terms. These are what people type in Google. That's how they get on this
Right.
custom audience.
Right. Yeah. They're referred to as search terms because it's what people actually type into Google rather than keywords, what we choose. But it's the same effect. I mean, you're going to
Right.
go after words that people are going to be typing. So if you have a bounce house, going back to my example, and you want to reach moms that are looking for something for their kids to do during the summer, you're going to have keywords that are search terms in here that would be like, kid activity for summer or
6-year-old birthday party ideas for boy.
yeah, these are the
Bounce
kind of
houses
things
in
that
Dallas, all that kind of stuff.
these are ideal clients for you. And so you put those searches, and it's not that they're searching for bounce houses. It's not because they're searching for your exact thing. That's the wrong idea. You have to
No,
get out of that
I
idea.
disagree.
It's,
I disagree. It could be. It could
it
be.
could, okay, that's true. You could do both. But my example here is what I'm talking about is you're doing it because these are the kind of people you want.
Because if you
These
want
are your
bounce houses,
ideal.
just run search ads. That's your point.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I see where you're
Because
coming
this is
from.
cheap traffic. If you want to
Yeah.
focus on low funnel stuff, use search. If you want to try and find the people out there that aren't necessarily searching and you want to bring them to your site, use the custom intent Google search terms.
You run a gymnastics place in a suburb, and it's like if someone searches gymnastics in Edmond, Oklahoma, you've got them. They're so deep in the funnel.
Right.
All you got to do is show up on search. You show them that's what
Easy.
you offer. They're gonna come to your website, and a good percent will sign up and become customers. But if you're trying to reach parents who don't know what they want to get their kids into yet, activities for 6-year-olds, after school activities for kids, exercise for kids, that could all be that higher level search terms that people search in Google. And when they search that higher level stuff, they get on your custom intent audience list. I love it, Chris. This really is a big deal to me, Chris. This custom intent audiences, because the display network, as we branch into custom infinity here, it's so tempting. It's like the siren of the song, or whatever it is, that Greek mythology where they hear the Greek goddess in the seas and they keep going to try to find her, and then they just get lost.
Wow.
Isn't there
You're
something
like,
to that?
I hear you. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very mysterious, and it's fun because suddenly you have this, custom built thing that
You have
can
hope again. I have hope again because
people.
the display network is always tempting me because it's so big, it's so cheap, it's so powerful. But It's hard to
How do
make
you
it
do it?
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's so much less effective immediately than search, but it's a different kind of thing. And this just gives you a new hope, a new opportunity. So, Chris, that's custom intent, which really turns me on. I would say I'm a little less turned on by custom affinity, at
Yeah.
least for the businesses I work with. What do you think about custom affinity? What are our options here?
So custom affinity, I don't have like inside information, but from my experience, custom affinity tends to be a lot bigger, because these are people that it looks at a longer history. They might have an interest in something. If you remember, the definition is custom affinity is based on what their interests and habits are using Google's information that they have at their disposal. So it's a lot bigger. So sometimes I don't really feel like it's quite as precise,
Mhm.
but there's actually more options. And let's go through those four options
Go ahead.
that's available to us. So number one is pretty straightforward. And let me take a step back. Same place as before. Blue button on the audience manager page, and then click on custom affinity. Put in audience name, and then there's a drop down towards the bottom that says interest, URL, place, and app. Let's go through each one of those. So interest, you need to add at least 5 interests or 5 of each of these in order for the system to work. So it's a lot less than 50. And for interests, this is the kind of thing that the example they show right on the page: avid marathon runners, triathlon athlete. The idea here is that you're going to be reaching people that have something that they look at a lot. It's a hobby. It's an interest, an
A
ongoing
foodie,
interest. Yeah, foodie. There
a
you go. And
concerned
there's a lot
parent.
of
Yeah.
pre-built. And again, we're very aware of the pre-built custom affinities, right? We're not talking about those because the same reason we don't like smart campaigns, because they make the decision for us. The reason we like the custom affinity is because we get to choose for ourselves.
Yeah, this is deeper. So, regular affinity, Chris, you could go someone who's interested or not interested, someone who has an affinity for sports and fitness, or health and fitness, I should say. That's an
Mhm.
affinity that's not custom. But custom is someone who has an affinity for CrossFit specifically,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
if you're trying to get in front of those
I,
people.
I like I like the example they actually have on one of the help pages. They say for example, rather than reaching the sports fan affinity audience, which is it's just sports fans, a
Right.
running shoe company may want to reach avid marathon runners instead. With custom affinity audiences, the shoe company can further define this audience by entering interests like 5K in San Francisco or long distance runner. Then they could use URLs to grab from websites that have content about running, training schedules, marathon nutrition, things like that. And then you can enter a place that a marathon runner might go to, like gyms, sporting goods stores, natural
Adding places
supermarket.
will limit the compatibility of this audience to video campaigns on YouTube only. People should know that, Chris, before you just
Thank you.
cavalierly throw out
Throw
add
it out there.
places.
That's true. That's true.
And I
And then
was so
finally,
ready to say
apps.
that. What do places mean? I don't understand what that is. Is that
We'll,
where
we'll
they
go through in a
are?
second. Yeah, well, it's places that they would visit because Google has information about where a person or a
Ah,
certain device might be going.
and that limits you
So
to only run YouTube?
it's not really one of my favorites, but
Okay.
hey, we're here to talk about it. It's not. I mean,
I
in
just wish
reality,
I just wish they wouldn't limit it to YouTube, because that's a cool thing to target people based on places they go to frequently.
I think it has to do with the data available or either a privacy thing.
Okay.
Um, but last is apps, which is you can target people based on apps. So that's the example that they have. We'll run back through each of these. Jason, talk about how the URL is different and how it pertains differently, not necessarily the way that keywords do.
So yeah, so it's not. Well, I don't know, Chris. You tell me.
Oh, okay. Well,
I didn't plan
I
this
mean,
episode
I made it.
because
I
because
made
no,
it
you just threw me out.
complicated.
You threw me out there. That was sly what you did. You're trying to make me look bad. You're trying to look better, but it's not different. It's not different than custom intent, because the URLs in custom intent means that it's not that they've been to that website. It's what that website is about. And you're
Exactly.
saying the
Yeah.
same thing on custom affinity, right? It doesn't mean they've been to that website. It means it's what that website's about, and
It's
do they
about,
have an
yes.
affinity for what that website's about? So the example they give is in Google Ads is runnersworld.com. So if you want to get in front of people who are into running, because you sell running shoes in a local city, and you want people to come in instead of just buy them online, because you can offer higher level services with that runners specifically would love, put in a URL like Runners World, because that shows they go that if they go to websites that are similar to that, or Google's looking at Runners World and it's going, okay, this website's about running, so we're going to put people who are into running in this custom audience. Is that the way Google's
Right.
looking at it, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay,
the main thing I was saying, the difference between entering keywords and URLs is that URLs, you don't get to define the keywords. Google automatically pulls the content and creates this
I gotcha.
phrasing,
I
this
gotcha.
topic for you. The difference between that and keywords is you get to choose what keywords Google is going to use. So
Gotcha.
places we've talked about, and using places will limit the compatibility of the audience to video campaigns on YouTube
So if you
only.
add places in and then you try to apply this custom audience to a regular display campaign, you're saying we're probably not
You'll
going to get
only
any
show on,
impressions
yeah, you're only going to show
unless
on
you have a
YouTube.
video.
So
Okay.
yeah, so you can do 3 of the 4 and show everywhere else. So that's, that may be probably what most people want to do. And then last is app. Again, probably one of the ones I don't really use, because who can say who's going to have what app installed? I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, you could have a lot of people that have a fitness app installed that aren't really marathon runners. They have dreams.
Dude,
So
Chris, you are such a general. You're so high level. You're so above it all. Get down with the humans. I think you're a Pegasus, as I've put in our thumbnails before. I think you have horse legs, a
yeah,
horse body under that nice statuesque chest you have up there. Because I don't think you act like us normal humans who have very specific interests. So if you have a poker company, there's specific apps that poker players use to track their results that only poker
oh,
players would use. So if you want to
okay,
get in front of hardcore poker players, you could put in whatever those tracking apps that only poker players are
that's
using.
true. That's a good
That's
point.
how us
Okay,
humans down here think. You little
okay.
Pegasus god, you.
What I don't, you bring insults to a whole new level. It's like,
My insults are
thank
so
you.
insulting that they're compliments, because I'm saying you're
Yeah,
so above
it's
it all.
amazing.
You're so naturally good looking.
It's
You're so naturally
amazing.
comfortable in conversation that you just don't have to deal with the things us
I
humans
love
have
it.
to deal with.
I'm embarrassed, but also angry. It's amazing. Well,
And that
that's
brings
it,
us to the end of the
guys.
episode.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of how amazing Jason is at backhanded compliments, let's talk about something really valuable, Opteo. We talked about it at the top. Let's talk about it again, because you need to know about it. opteo.com/PSP. That's our favorite Google Ads tool to help you get things done faster, get things done beyond what your brain can come up with day to day. You might forget things. You might, forget to check certain keywords or check the historical quality of one ad over another. This tool can help you do that in a nice white background, non-intrusive interface. You'll like it. Go to I'm just going to say it, opteo.com/PSP for a 6-week extended trial. Give it a try. Tell us what you think. And with that, Jason, I have a trivia question, which is everyone's favorite. And then we're going to move over to the Patreon show,
Yeah,
which
Chris, can I
if
can I promote Patreon just for a second before
please,
we do the trivia? So
we
one
got
of the things
60
we're gonna
seconds.
okay, Patreon, patreon.com/Paid Search Podcast. We record it right after the show. You'll hear us go into it at the end of this episode, and then it transitions over to Patreon. We are charging an exorbitant amount of money for Patreon, $2 a month for audio access. We do a show every single week, and it's only $2 a month. We do go 20, 30 minutes. Or if you want video access, $4 a month. Or by the way, people, if you want to support us, you can put in more money for either of those tiers. You can add the RSS feed to your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcast app, and it shows up every week just like a regular podcast. And Chris, one of the things I want to do on Patreon is just a little bit, because we talk business on there. I'm looking forward today to brainstorming with you how you and I can use custom intent for the Paid Search podcast ads, because we run remarketing ads. I'd like to open it up to more display, but I'd like to customize it. Here's a good one, buddy. How about people that use the Google Ads app? You were saying, what apps could you possibly use? Hardcore AdWords advertisers, people that use the Google Ads app. So we'll talk about that on Patreon. Join us there, people. Patreon.com/Paid Search Podcast, $2 a month, an episode every week, and we look forward to seeing you there. So, Chris, now it is time for you to crush my soul with PSP trivia. PST, Paid Search Trivia.
Well, here we go. So Paid Search Trivia, everybody learns something, and we all realize how uninformed Jason is. So
no, they realized that at the top of this episode where you bring up this topic, and I'm like, oh, I've never learned about that in 6 years of doing Google Ads. Just being honest, people, that's why you like the show.
Yeah, honesty. True or false? So 50-50, I gave you a shot. Using custom intent audiences on YouTube means that the keywords you select are matched to the keywords in the video.
Using custom intent audiences on YouTube means that the keywords you choose, custom intent on YouTube.
Custom intent audiences on YouTube means that the keywords you choose are matched to the keywords in the video.
And this is on the custom audiences we just talked about, or is this just creating a YouTube campaign with keywords?
Custom intent audience.
Okay. Custom intent audiences, custom intent, you are doing in-market keywords. That's what you're talking about, not the search terms.
Mm-hmm.
In-market keywords are in the YouTube video title or talked about in the YouTube video. Which one are you asking?
Both, either. Yeah, it's based on the content of the video.
And it's only true, false.
Mm-hmm. True, false.
Okay, I'm going to respect the dignity of PST, of Paid Search Trivia, and opt to not give you an answer and get it marked wrong and have my score marked wrong and lose this one, because I could just guess true or false and have a 50% chance of getting it right. But in the spirit of the game, respecting Paid Search Trivia, I'm not going to disrespect Paid Search Trivia and just guess when I have absolutely no idea how Google tells which videos match the in-market keyword you typed in the custom intent. I don't know if they're making transcripts of the videos and picking out keywords. I don't know if they're looking at titles or descriptions. And I'm not going to disrespect this game. So my answer is I opt to not give an answer. So make the error sign. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
So
all right. I tried hard on that one. I thought I had it for a second, but I didn't get it. I took my 50-50 chance and I put it down to 0%.
Take the 50.
I'm not going to disrespect the game. I'm not going to disrespect the game.
Okay. It was honestly a softball, Jason. The answer is false. It's based on the searches they use on google.com. It's custom intent. It's never about the content. It's always about the user. That's the end.
I want to say a 4-letter word. I want to call you a 4-letter word that I can only say on Patreon. No. All right, we're going to move this. No, hold on. We're not moving into Patreon yet. Chris, it's custom intent. No, that was so shady what you did. You made it sound like...
wasn't. No, it was. Okay. It sounded like a trick question, but it wasn't. It's absolutely just repeating what we talked about.
In-market keywords, so you're saying, oh, it's not going to look at the YouTube video. It can show it on any possible YouTube video because it's tied what the user is tied to. Okay.
It's tied with the user. Any audience is all. Basically, the point I'm getting across is audiences target people. That's the point of the trivia, is to reinforce audiences target people, not content.
Oh, beautiful. I'm never going to forget that, honestly, now, because you just embarrassed me and bent me over and hit me with a paddle. But you know what? This underclassman becomes an upperclassman one day, and I will fight you. All right, Chris. Sure. Great PST there. I'm glad I got that wrong. I learned something with it, and now let's move into Patreon, where I can call you